Meeting of Clear Lake City Council of Monday, April 18th, 2022 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So offered.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Mark, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. To the consent agenda, you have a copy of the minutes of April 4th, 2022. You need approval of the bills and claims, of which you also have a copy, and the following licenses and permits. Liquor license, special Class C liquor license, Lake Theater. It's a renewal. Excavator license, Markwood Services, NIS Excavating, Rock Central, those are all renewals. Tree Trimmers License, Malix Lawn and Tree Service, Hernandez Tree Removal, that's new, and Arbor Experts, that's new. And street closing request, Clear Lake Chamber Earth Day activities, Saturday, April 23rd, and Shake, Rattle, and Stroll for Parkinson's on Saturday, May 7th. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Gary, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now is the time and place for any citizen in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or concern that is not on the agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter the minutes. This is not a discussion time nor a question and answer time, and you have a max of 5 minutes. Welcome, Jan.
Just 5 minutes. My name's Jan Lovell, and speaking tonight on behalf of the Clear Lake Earth Days Committee. And first of all, a huge thank you to each and every one of you for all that you are doing to protect and enhance our very important natural spring-fed lake. And for working with officials of other jurisdictions, the state of Iowa, Ventura, the county of Cerro Gordo, to help protect this very important natural resource. We're also aware of the significant economic impact that the lake has for us. Thank you also for supporting financially the position of the CLEAR project, such an essential position for the maintenance, education, collaboration with other agencies, and we deeply appreciate that. And the filter box maintenance, needless to say, there are many, many, many areas that you support. So, 25 years ago, Clear Lake Earth Days grew out of a situation of when we were experiencing major issues with the lake. And there were some naysayers who said, well, we can't do anything. But thanks to our leaders like you, what a difference has been made. So we thank you for all the years of what you are doing for the lake and for everything else. We're glad this year, the 25th year, to be holding some events in person. During the pandemic, of course, there were many that we couldn't hold in person. But what we saw was a complete resurgence of people utilizing the outdoors, our trails, the lake, the parks. Just such an important thing to see how much appreciated they are. And research is telling us that we need to be getting our kids outdoors and away from video games and get outdoor exercise. So those are many of the things that we try to encompass in the Earth Day events. And it includes the major events being the Green Expo, the Outdoor Fest, and a Zoom meeting tomorrow as well, the 5K, 10K. So it truly encompasses, we have committee members representing a number of different organizations, the schools, the library, the Clear Lake Arts Center, because it truly encompasses all of those. But it reminds us of the common theme of the well-being for our families and our community and our natural home. So whether it's for outdoor recreation, for our physical and mental health, for clean water, for healthy food, recycling, conserving energy, reading, the arts, or the very visible act of picking up trash in our own backyard. And as our mayor noted a few years back, and is quoted on the Earth Day website, Clear Lake is a community that prides itself on quality of life, is deeply immersed in environmental quality and recreational, cultural, and entertainment activities. The cause for this success, I'm interjecting this, our leadership, our people, and teamwork. And so our major thanks to all of you for your leadership, and we hope that the weather will cooperate, of course, and hope to see some folks at some of the many events. So thank you again, and we appreciate it. And I believe our mayor has been kind enough to do a proclamation. So thank you all for your leadership.
And thank you for your leadership in this many, many years as well. So appreciate
I've
that.
been a teenager, right? When I started.
Thanks. Would you like to go now? I'm going to take a privilege, council, of having both of these ladies speak, and then immediately after, I will read the proclamations, and then we'll move on so they can continue. Welcome.
Up here. Hi, my name is Deb Tesar. Last name is spelled T-E-S-A-R. I want to just thank you, Mayor Crabb, and all the council members for the opportunity to give you a little update on the Clear Lake Trees Committee. This committee has been in existence since the early 1990s. I first got involved with it around 1998. But in the last few years, we have been a little less active for various reasons. And so, but of course, recent tree losses in our community have gotten a lot of people kind of worked up about trees. And it's important, we have been losing trees for a number of reasons. And so it seemed like an opportune time to sort of reconvene that committee and get some life injected back into it. And so we did that. We had a kind of a reorganizational meeting on last Monday night, April 11th. Had a good-sized turnout and heard from a number of other folks who were interested but not able to attend. Some of the things that we covered included the history of tree planting in Clear Lake and then the Clear Lake Trees Committee in particular. But I just love this thing that I'm sure you've all seen it in some of the Clear Lake history books, that on May 1st, 1872, 1,500 trees were planted in City Park at the urging of the local newspaper editor, which is just kind of hard to believe. But then if you look at some of the older photos of City Park back in the day, you can see that a lot more trees were there than what we have now. And granted, we do need to have space to set up tents and so forth, but overall, it is important that we have a nice, healthy urban canopy here in Clear Lake. So anyway, and our current tree committee was first formed around 1990 with encouragement and assistance from Trees Forever, which is a nonprofit based in Marion, Iowa, and then local leadership. And it's always been sort of a small ad hoc independent committee, but we've worked with many people from the city, Public Works here in the City Hall, Parks Department, and then also the schools as well. So a number of grants have been written. We've done major tree planting projects in nearly every park and on all the different school properties around town. So, but it's been a while since we've done one. The last large one that we did was in really about 2016, which sounds like a long time ago now, which was we did about 30 trees at the Outlet Recreation Complex. So what we talked about at this meeting last week was, what can this committee be doing to help with the tree, tree inventory, if you will, in Clear Lake. And an inventory really is kind of the starting point, kind of check to see what we have, where we have it, what are the threats. And I'm sure everyone is familiar with the advance of emerald ash borer. You may or may not know that it officially has been found here in Clear Lake, so it's here. Now, we probably have trees in our midst that are infested, but the good news is that for trees that haven't been attacked yet by that particular pest, that treatment is a viable option. It kind of depends on, there are certain factors that make it more preferable to, to tree than to take it down and start with a newer one. But anyway, it's nice to know that we have that in our available tool set. But then there's other threats too. There's bur oak blight, weather we've seen just lately. So one of our committee members had done an unofficial citywide tree inventory back in 2019. And he found that probably over 50% of our trees in the public spaces, he looked at parks and then the parking around town. And, between being species that are, at risk or less desirable, for example, silver maples, ones that are reaching end of life, that up to 50% of our canopy could be gone within, the next several years. And so that we are very behind, really, in our succession planning. And so we do need to get on the stick. And so, again, it kind of goes to this whole idea of inventorying what we have, where we have it, and start to make a plan. So that's something that we would like to work with the city on, creating a strategic plan around trees, kind of what's the areas of focus, how are we going to fund it, all those kinds of things. So those are some of the kinds of things that this committee expects to be working on. And then, of course, our piece out of that would be doing grant writing, getting actual planting projects organized. And we know there are numerous sites around town that would be great candidates. It's not hard at all to think about great spots to do a planting project. So we know that those will be in our future. And then another big piece will be provide public information, making sure that residents are aware of programs that are out there where they can get, free trees or low-cost trees. How can they, who can help them treat trees that they already have that are at risk, that kind of thing. And then, and then information, obviously, about planting and care for trees that they may choose to put on their own property. So, the big picture is we have a lot of work ahead of us. The good news is that we have a lot of energetic and really committed people who are interested in pursuing that work, so that's great. And we do have a few near-term plans that we're going to try to, we don't have a lot of time to get these organized, but we're going to do it anyway. We are planning to have a booth at the Earth Day Green Expo next Thursday, April 21st, so that we can try to recruit some additional committee members and share some of the information that we do have around, threats, options, that sort of thing. We also would like to have an Arbor Day observance here in Clear Lake for the end of the month. It's just kind of a ceremonial thing to bring attention to the fact that, trees are important. They're an important piece of quality of life here in many ways. And so we'd like to do sort of a ceremonial planting on at least one tree on a public site, but that site is yet to be determined. So we'll have to get that out through the media. And then also on Wednesday, May 4th, we'll be cooperating with Clear Lake High School for their Day of Service to do a tree planting project, which we did do last year as well, and that worked real well. So it's nice that, we're a couple different ways to get involved with the schools. And for anyone who's interested, our next meeting of this Trees Committee will be on Monday, May 9th at the Clear Lake Public Library Meeting Room. So anyone who is interested is welcome to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and read the, first of all, the Earth Day proclamation and then the Arbor Day proclamation as given to me earlier today. But just a little forward here on Earth Day, 50 years ago really is when the school got involved. I remember Judy Coe and myself were classroom teachers at the old junior high. Which went up in smoke about 47 years ago, 2 weeks ago. But at that time, we were concerned about world population. And we had a big discussion with regard to that, as well as I think we had a DNR guy, Dick Bishop, by the way, I forgot that name until now, but he was involved in the waterfowl, a waterfowl biologist, and waterfowl at that time weren't quite as many as there are now that come through. Renewable energy, they didn't even talk about in those days. And as you know, we now have gone to ethanol, and we have gone to solar panels and wind turbines. I mispronounced that last word many times, but and all kinds of hydroelectric, et cetera, and now the lithium batteries. And I understand there's going to be an electric car down at the SURF. A few of us here, Flory and I did a speed test out there on Baker's Corner with the one that we had, but kind of an interesting time. Here we go is the proclamation for Clear Lake Earth Day. Whereas Clear Lake's natural beauty and surroundings are what attracted the first inhabitants and is what draw and captivates many of us here today. And whereas Clear Lake is one of North Iowa's top natural resources, and its recreational amenities provide an important economic impact for Clear Lake and surrounding communities. And the City of Clear Lake has partnered with the State of Iowa, the County of Cerro Gordo, the City of Ventura, and others to provide financial and management services to restore, enhance, and protect our Clear Lake. Whereas Clear Lake is a community that prides itself on the quality of life and is deeply immersed in environmental quality and recreational, cultural, and entertainment activities. And whereas this is the 25th year for a community-wide annual celebration involving many of our outstanding organizations, our schools and students, the Clear Lake Earth Days Committee, and others, providing opportunities to learn and enjoy the outdoors, and to volunteers pitching in to help make our community an even better place to live. And whereas it has become a signature Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce event to work together for our beloved community and each other, and to welcome back our summer residents and visitors. Now, therefore, I, as mayor of the City of Clear Lake, do hereby proclaim the week of April 18th as Earth Week in the City of Clear Lake, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Earth Week. And thank you, Jan, for your presentation, and hopefully this summarizes it, so everybody really should get involved, starting today and finishing Saturday with the wonderful activities in the park that go from 10 to about 1 or 2 o'clock. And Mr. Flory is going to win the 10K in flying colors as he crosses the finish line. There's also a 5K for any of you who'd like to run, walk, or just walk, or not even do that, I suppose. So thank you once again. So that's Earth Day. And now to our Arbor Day. Is that what we're calling that? Arbor Day? Official proclamation, I believe. And it's done by Tree City USA, I see here, which is their foundation, correct?
Well, the National Arbor Day Foundation has this Tree City USA program, and that is one of their resources. So it's, yeah, and we have been a Tree City USA here a couple of times since I've been involved, but not recently.
Right.
But having that proclamation is a requisite.
If you go back a number of years, you will find that where Clear Creek School is now used to be where the park department raised a lot of little saplings that they thought would fill in across, and then Clear Creek went in there, and those are missing now. But we also have planted, I know Jeremy has done this along the east side of the cemetery, a number of new trees there to replace the fence that has come down, and that is what we're also doing on, we have done on North Shore Drive as we, in the parking area there, and what we're doing on Main Street. And I believe Jason got a registered arborist to come in to help us with that. Not just saying this tree should go in that, but this guy was certified and very well qualified. And obviously we'll go back and talk, much like we did to North Shore, indicate to the people who are there the type of tree that they might like to have to replace those that are there. So here we go with the official proclamation of Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, as mayor of the city of Clear Lake, do hereby proclaim April 30th as Arbor Day in the city of Clear Lake, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 18th day of April 2022. Thank you both. Thank you both for your leadership in each of these areas. And we, as well as you, are very proud of what we as a group together can do for this city. And this is very, very important to kick off the end of the winter and the beginning of, I don't know when it's coming, but nice warm weather. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Moving right along, we have some unfinished business here, and 5A, parking and traffic code ordinance amendments. Need a motion to approve ordinance number 869, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Clear Lake, chapter 69, parking regulations. And this is on the third and final reading. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Mike, that we approve ordinance number 869. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Mark?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
And Dana?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Ordinance number 869 is now duly adopted. 5B, East Main Avenue from 8th Street to 14th Street Reconstruction Project. This is ordinance number 868, also on the third and final reading. And this is an ordinance establishing grades for the 2022 East Main Avenue Street Reconstruction and Bike Lane Extension Project. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mark, that we approve ordinance number 868. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And Mark?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0, and ordinance number 868 is duly adopted. Now we'll move to 6A, under new business, seawall rehabilitation improvement project review. Mr. Flory, welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We've got a number of items in your packet that pertain to this item on the agenda. As Mayor indicated, this is the seawall rehabilitation improvement project. The first yellow sheet in your packet is a resolution approving the contract of bonds for the project. Of course, the contractor for the project is TNT Tuck Pointing and Building Restorations out of Stockton, Iowa. The purple sheets that follow that are the copies of the various bonds that are required for the project. And then lastly, the blue sheets are a copy of the partially executed contract document. So just in the way of some review, you recall from the previous meeting, we had held the bid letting on this project on March 30th, 11 o'clock here at City Hall. We did receive 3 bids for this project. As I mentioned, the lowest responsible bid was submitted by TNT Tuck Pointing and Building Restoration, Stockton, Iowa. That was in the amount of $186,930, so about 25% less than what the architect's opinion of the probable cost of rehabilitation was for this project. So at that meeting on April 4th, Council had held the public hearing on the required public input session for the plan specification form contract and estimate of cost. Following that, then the council made the award of contract to TNT Tuck Pointing and Building Restoration in Stockton, Iowa, in the amount of $186,930. So we're to the point here now where the next step in the process is to approve the contract and approve the bonds. And again, you've got those in your packet. All of them are in order and in compliance with the contract document specifications that were drafted by the project architect. So we did have received the certificate of liability insurance as well. So I don't have anything further on that. A little bit later on under my report, I'm going to talk a little bit about the process for the State Historic Preservation Office review of our application for placement ultimately on the National Register of Historic Places. But if anyone has any questions regarding the contract or bonds, I would just add also we did have a pre-construction conference last week. Gary was there, I was there, a few others were there. And I was very impressed with the contractor. They intend to get started pretty aggressively on the project. Of course, it can't start before the Earth Day festivities are completed. So contractor's intention is to start Monday, April 25th, bringing in a couple of crews on it. Hope to have it done around the Memorial Day timeframe. So that's very positive, very aggressive schedule, and hopefully again be done and over with in a very different looking, much improved looking seawall project for our visitors and residents to enjoy this summer.
Council, any questions for Scott?
Just a quick comment, Mayor, if I could. I think we're very fortunate, Scott, to have gotten this bid. You said 25% less than the estimate?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's very fortunate. I think it's also very fortuitous that the schedule you describe, we'll get it done in the early part of the summer, and then we'll be able to get our Main Avenue dock out right after that for the vast majority of the summer. So I think that's very fortuitous. I don't see how that could have worked out any better for us, frankly.
Right. We had anticipated that the schedule probably be a lot longer than that, but again, their intention is to get started immediately and bring in a couple of crews and work right away. I think he mentioned 4 12-hour days is kind of the schedule that they're kind of penciling out. But again, very experienced contractor. RDG's worked with them on these kinds of restoration projects in the past and certainly endorsed their work.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think a big part of that is that, they are working with RDG. We have worked with RDG on many things for over a long time, and that's good, that familiarity with the community as well. Any other comments of questions from Mr. Flory? Thank you, Scott. Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2237, a resolution approving a contract and bonds, and the contract is with TNT Tuck Pointing and Building Restoration, Stockton, Iowa, at $186,930. Motion, please.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Mark, that we approve Resolution 2237. Is there any discussion? Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
And Mike?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2237 is duly adopted. 6B, South 15th Street Building Demolition Project, interim, Mr. Flory.
Thanks again, Mayor. The gray sheet council starts this item, a resolution accepting the work for the South 15th Street Building Demolition Project. The orange sheets that follow that are the pay estimate number 1, which serves as the final pay estimate on this project. So one pay estimate only for this one, and that serves as the final. The certificate of completion is on the yellow sheet filed by the project engineer on this, indicating that all the work was completed, performed in substantial compliance with the previously approved plan specifications. So just again, in the way of some background on this one, at your meeting on March 7th, you had awarded this project, again, the South 15th Street Building Demolition Project, to Jan Corporation here in Clear Lake. The amount of the project award was $59,075, so that was 22% less than what the engineer's opinion, the probable cost of construction, which was just about $76,000 for this project. If you recall, we had a total of 4 bids. So again, the work's now been completed, and as I mentioned, the white sheet in your packet is the certificate of completion that was filed for this project, indicating that the work was completed in compliance with the project's plan specifications, form of contract. So the final amount of work completed on the project was $51,475.59. So it came in a little less than what the original contract award amount was. So that's always nice. So I think they did a really nice job. It looks dramatically different. If you've had a chance to go out there and look at that, with the former county secondary road department buildings now gone and a memory from that location. So I think it's certainly a positive improvement, step forward again on the whole revitalization of that area of the community. We continue to keep working away on our all-inclusive park and playground project, and that's making good progress. And hopefully we'll have some more coming forward on that at a future meeting. So I don't have anything further in terms of any background, unless anyone has any questions. Jason's going to review the pay estimate with you and his recommendation.
It's amazing how open that looks now when you
Yeah.
drive.
Going to be able to be used by the pool patrons for a while, so plenty of parking.
Yeah.
Don't have to park on the street.
Thanks, Scott. Review of pay estimate number 1, final and recommendation to accept the work. Mr. Petersburg, welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As Scott indicated, work on the South 15th Street building demolition project has been completed by Yanco Excavating out of Clear Lake. Jeremy and I are working on a punch list for that right now, but all the work is substantially complete. The quantities were submitted by Yanco to V&K. The final value of work completed is $51,475.59, which is a little over $7,000 under the original contract amount. Primarily, the underrun was in the granular or special backfill material. We had estimated larger foundations that were coming out than what they actually found there, so we did come in under budget. Net amount due to Yanco at this time is $48,901.81. I'll note the completion date for this was April 30th, so we're about 3 weeks ahead of schedule as far as getting work wrapped up as well. We do recommend approval of pay estimate number 1 to Yanco, as well as the approval of the resolution accepting work. Questions?
Questions for Jason's council? Thank you, Jason. Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 1 to Yanco, Clear Lake, Iowa, in the amount of $48,901.81. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Dana, seconded by Gary, that we approve pay estimate number 1 on the South 15th Street building demo project. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And now I need a motion to approve Resolution 2238, a resolution accepting the work by Yanco. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Mike, that we approve Resolution 2238. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Bennett?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And Gary?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2238 is duly adopted. 6C, fiscal year 22 budget amendment. Mr. Flory.
Thank you, Mayor. The green sheets in your packet address this item. Previously, we had set the date for the budget amendment on the fiscal year 22 budget, and that previously was part of our fiscal year 22-23 process, but as I understand it from Creighton, the notice on that one was on the back side of one of the sheets, and that didn't get published in the paper, so we have to repeat that process. So again, we did previously set the date for the public hearing, published the notice on April 6th, and indicating tonight is the date for the public hearing on the fiscal year 22 budget amendment. So again, we'll hold the hearing tonight, act on the resolution, and then certify that budget amendment to the county. I think Creighton noticed this when he was certifying the fiscal year 23 budget to the county, that was just a glitch that it just didn't get published, so we'll clean it up. So I don't have anything further on that unless anyone has any questions.
Council, any questions for Scott? Scott, now is the time and place for the public hearing with regard to fiscal year 22 budget amendment. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address that, any issue concern, please approach the podium, give your name first and last, and state your address as well. Not appearing, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on fiscal year 22 budget amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mark, that we close the public hearing on fiscal year 22 budget amendment. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And now I need a motion to approve Resolution 2239, a resolution adopting the amended budget for fiscal year 22.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mike, that we approve Resolution 2239. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Dana?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
And Bennett.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2239 is duly adopted. Chief, report. Council, any questions on the enclosed police department report for January through March, specifically March? Okay, thanks, Chief, appreciate that. Public Works Director's report. Mr. Kornberg, welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a few updates on some projects that have started or continuing. The water main and storm sewer improvement project, talked with some of the contractors this week. Obviously, the weather hasn't been conducive for some concrete work, but hopefully they are planning on starting on some concrete work down there on some sidewalks in that South 12th area. There's some ramps and stuff, so their plan is to get started there and a couple patches on the other area first, and then get into some of the bigger stuff. So hopefully by the end of the week they'll be up and running there. The Buddy Holly Place Railroad Crossing Improvement Project, as you can tell, started this morning. The railroad got in there, has removed, I think, the sets of rails. Heartland is scheduled to go in there put in the asphalt underlayment for the rails tomorrow morning. We'll be on site with Jim Hunt Electric and Traffic Control Products, installing all the new traffic control cabinet and traffic heads tomorrow and possibly Wednesday. So there will be some outages there at that intersection, flashing red. We'll have some temporary traffic control as well when that goes on. And then their goal is to be hopefully complete by Friday. So it kind of just depends on how everything moves along and when they can get that finished surface in with Heartland. But it's an aggressive goal, but that's their plan. So, and then the only other update I have is the Main Avenue Alley project just down the street started today. Brian Nettleton Excavating got in there and started with removals of the asphalt base in there. Is going to be working at it this week. So we met with Absolute Waste, got them some drawings. Hopefully everybody's okay with where things are at. But I met with Brian this morning too and talked with him about it. So he's aware of the need to have access to those dumpsters and whatnot. So I don't think that should be an issue with working with him on that. So other than that, nothing else. If you have any questions for me.
Where are we in the working resurfacing? There's more to it than that on 16th High School.
Yeah, so that would be the concrete work that Munson Construction started. So they are going to start just on getting the sidewalks because it's a little bit simpler, especially with the weather we have, smaller patches, and then hopefully next week as the weather continues to improve, they'll be working on that. So.
What got started on First Avenue North and North 12th Street?
Alliant Energy got in there and had to move a gas main.
Oh, okay.
The main that was there was right in line with the storm sewer and one of the intakes, so they just put it back underneath the sidewalk. So there's a little bit extra work there, but they got in there and completed that. So.
And just out of curiosity, what's going on just, I guess it'd be west of the Clear Lake Bank and Trust parking lot in that alley?
That's just a sewer repair for
Okay.
one of the
Yeah,
people there. So
I just noticed it.
yeah, it's not a very easy place for them to work. It
No,
kind of digs in between a couple buildings and
Yep.
then back to that alley. So
yeah,
yeah.
all right, thank you.
Yeah, South 12th from South 8th going east, that I know 'tis the season and there's potholes in there.
Right. Yeah, it was just a bunch of frost boils. We've put road stone in there, so we are just trying to maintain it as best we can right now. Go down with skid load or whatnot.
It's a lot of
complete that.
early morning and afternoon traffic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really busy road, buses, et cetera. It's just pretty rough on it. So, we've discussed patching with concrete, asphalt. We just haven't had a final decision on it yet, but, I don't know if it's something that we wait until school's closer to being out. We have a little bit more, freedom to work down there or not, but we'll get some prices and some estimates on what it's gonna cost to get all the patching done, so.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep.
Appreciate it. City administrators. Scott?
Yeah, just a couple things real quick. I've mentioned this at several meetings now. We're working through our comprehensive plan consultant selection process. You remember from a couple of meetings ago, I indicated we had selected RDG Consulting. We went through a pretty elaborate request for qualification process, conducted interviews. So we had selected the project that we're involved with Saragordo County and the City of Mason City on. So we are now in the process of contract negotiations with RDG. So there's a few things that we kind of want to change in terms of the scope and maybe have a little impact on the overall cost for that. But had a good meeting with the two other partners in that and RDG today. So hopefully bringing something back for the next meeting on approval of that contract. So we kind of all wanted to be in lockstep with one another on that, so I think we'll be acting on it at the next meeting. I think Mason City will follow us the next night, and the county probably pretty quickly thereafter that too. So looking forward to kind of getting that process started. We got a number of areas, you know, again, the comprehensive plan for Mason City, I think was about 15 years old. I think we were about 12 or 13 years old, and we're not sure the county ever had one. So it's kind of, so we're all excited about the opportunity to work together on that one and get that one going forward. So the next one, the 700 block Buddy Holly Place Alley Reconstruction Project. This is something we've gotten a few phone calls on. This was in our alley plan. A few of you may recall that we had done a sort of a comprehensive alley plan here few years back, kind of looking at conditions of some of the alleys and kind of prioritizing them. This is another one similar to like the one that we just finished up there in the 600 block of Buddy Holly Place. This is much north of that, so over in the 700 block of Buddy Holly Place, so just south of the lake auto repair shop there. So I had Jason kind of run some numbers on that. Of course, we had budgeted some money for an alley project in the budget. This looks like it'd be a good one to me, so I wanted to bring it up for your consideration. So it'd be a alley reconstruction project similar to like what we did in the 600 block. If you've been down there and looked at it, it's definitely in some pretty rough shape. So I don't know if anybody has any comments on that, but if that would be favorable, we could proceed with that.
I got a few comments.
Yeah.
I did my research. I drove the alley. What I discovered is the west end of the alley is still in decent shape. So the part that seems to be serving the businesses, the auto shop, the real estate office, and I guess there's some sort of storage garages on that east end. The asphalt there is kind of held together. I wouldn't disagree with you that as you go east, and if I misspoke, I'm talking the west end is in good shape, and as you go east, it's in tough shape. But there's virtually no garages on that end of the alley that are serving anyone. There seems to be an old garage that might be a storage garage. There aren't any, from what I could see, used garages by that on a daily use. Maybe two houses, and then you get up to the east end, and the houses on the east end both have driveways and garages that face the north-south street. I guess to me there's a little shock value in putting nearly $100,000 in an alley that I can't believe gets used by very many vehicles every day. I mean, I would guess on many days, no vehicles go up and down. The other one we just did was behind commercial businesses where there seemed to be a lot of traffic and some maybe people that parked, and there was some serious drainage issues in that also. And that made a little more sense to me. But this one, at this time, I mean, to me, then I drove all of the alleys that went east of that for 3 more blocks, and there didn't seem to be, well, one of them had some asphalt, but most of them were gravel. So, boy, in my mind, it might make more sense to plow up the broken asphalt and just gravel the rest of that alley. I can't believe that would cost anywhere near that amount of money. And it would serve the circumstance equally well. But you're just getting one man's opinion here.
If I could offer my thoughts on that, I think, Scott, I want to be supportive of this project, and I'll explain why. I've had conversations over the last several years, actually, with business owners on the one end and with homeowners on the east end there. And frankly, what they described to me is a significant amount of deliveries and traffic that go through there. And I think as a long-term solution, doing what Jason has recommended here with concrete would just make a lot more sense in terms of, you know, how we handle that. The pictures that I've taken of this alley, I think I've showed those to you. It really is in very poor shape. So I think I want to be supportive of it. Again, we don't do a lot of alleys each year, but I think this one is certainly due. The other thing I would mention is it is in the surf district, the Buddy Holly area there, and I think it would behoove us to improve that as well. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
I'd like to offer my thoughts on that. I went over that alley 3 or 4 times in the last few days. Mike's evaluation of it is right on spot. I can't believe there's that much traffic that wants to spend $90,000 for one end of an alley. I have much faith in our public work department. They can go down, take up what broken asphalt's down there and rock it. It'll probably work out just fine and be a lot cheaper, better investment for the city. I will not support this.
Jason, didn't we have a priority done on alleys a while back? Where did this one lie?
It was high priority, but we didn't have a number of 1 through 100 as far as ranking. I can't remember exactly how many points it had for this alley.
But you do recall it as a high priority.
Yeah, I looked that up.
Well, we've got a lot of alleys that are high priority.
Yeah, but these were ranked, correct?
They were categorized, high priority and low priority. We didn't pick which one was higher priority.
Well, once again, if the west end looked like the east end in the middle, I'd be on board. But the west end is and that's the showy end. If you're talking surf district, that's the only one anybody's going to see. I can't see anybody going anywhere near the surf using that alley for any other reason. And I'm guessing the 2 or 3 residents along there aren't thrilled. But when you're talking about bang for your buck here, and I guess I'll ask you a question, you know, as a professional engineer, is what I'm suggesting doable, and would it make that a better traveled surface than it is now? Tear up the bad parts and throw some rock down?
I mean, there's some drainage deficiencies in there, where some of that could be fixed with grading as well.
Yeah.
And that's, I think,
Okay.
the east end is in worse condition than the west.
Yeah. All right. So you know, and I know nothing about construction, but I did take the time to drive all of these alleys in that area, and most of them are gravel. And the business end, which wasn't gravel, is still in decent shape. So anyway, I guess with a difference of opinion here, maybe we need to take a quick voice vote on this moving forward.
One other question is the, what direction are we going here? Is the east end asphalted now? So we'd be tearing out the asphalt and going back to gravel? So that's kind of a step down, isn't it?
But yes and no, because the gravel or the asphalt is heaved and it's partially there. Would that be a correct assessment? Yeah, I mean, I looked at this very carefully, and it's not very smooth. It is in bad shape. I'll admit that 100%. And if maybe if this was a $30,000 project or something, it wouldn't have caught my eye. But at that price, with some of the other streets and areas we've got in town, you know, I just think right now there would be a better use for that amount of money somewhere else in town. So anyway, it's my opinion. Thank you.
The asphalt is alligator pretty bad.
Yep.
And I'm surprised snowplows haven't even brought it up.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. It's all loose.
Yeah,
It can be brought up with a skiddler so easily. As far as grading the alley, yeah, that's a possibility. There's one little spot that needs to be filled in. But our crews are pretty efficient for the Public Works Department. They can handle. The alley to the east is all rock, east of that. Looks nice. In fact, I was very impressed with the looks of that.
Yeah, that drove very smoothly
Yeah.
and, yeah, anyway.
I just can't see us spending $90,000 at this point. A wise man once told me a long time ago in 2014, there's a difference between a want and a need, and I don't see the need on this right now.
Any other comments, Council?
Yes, I would have to say I have not taken the opportunity that some of the other council members have to look at the alley, and so I am not really in a position to vote either way. I would almost say that maybe we table it till a later date, so we all have the same opportunity to take the time to go out and really look at it.
We aren't here tonight for an official vote on it anyway. This is just.
Okay, we'll just wait and hear back from you. Okay. The next one, as I mentioned, is the State National Register Nominating Committee meeting for the seawall project. So if you recall, we're working with RDG to submit that application to, first goes to the State Historic Preservation Office in Des Moines. So after we've completed that application and we've sent it in there, so we now have that date set for June 10th for the state board review of our nomination application for the seawall and for its placement ultimately on the National Register. So that's going to be reviewed on June 10th. They have about, I think 8 or so projects on that same agenda as ours. I think ours is the second one to be reviewed and commented on. So Mason City also happens to have one on that same agenda for Firehouse number 2. So we'll both be on that same agenda. Hopefully we're both reviewed favorably, and from that point, the state makes a recommendation to the National Park Service, and then they take some time. So if all things continue to go favorably on that, I think ultimately it'd be, we'd have a decision one way or the other on the placement on the National Register on that by next August. So, you know, everything has to fall into the scheduling, so that's kind of how we're looking, but again, continuing to make progress on that. So June 10th is when the next important milestone date is on that one, so.
I think this is great. This is a great move, and, you know, I mentioned many times, this is kind of an icon that we have in our community. And we had a comment this morning, I heard from a person in the office saying that they had been asked by someone else if they could have a sample of our seawall. We said, well, we're not tearing it down. We're reconstructing it.
Few too many people have been taking samples.
Anyway, that's a great deal. Anything else, council, tonight? Thank you all. Meeting adjourned.